I haven't even shown the game yet. I made one thumbnail using AI and people already have opinions. Comments about AI in the code, comments dismissing the project entirely before anyone even saw it run. So let me save everyone some time. I do use AI and today I'm going to tell you exactly how, exactly where, and exactly why. No spin, no excuses, just the truth. Let's start with what's real. Code. I use AI as a coding assistant. When I'm writing the game, AI helps with boilerplate, with debugging, with speeding up repetitive tasks. It's the same thing as using autocompletion, code snippets, or searching Stack Overflow, except faster and in context. And let's be honest here, there is virtually no developer working today who isn't using AI in some form in their work. Autocompletion, code suggestions, debugging assistance, it's part of the modern development toolkit. The difference isn't whether you use it, it's how much you rely on it and what you use it for. In my case, the architecture of the game, the systems, the logic behind how everything connects, that's all mine. AI doesn't decide how the battle system works, I do. AI helps me write the implementation faster. Thumbnails. For the first video, I used AI generated images for thumbnails. Fair criticism there. They looked AI generated and people noticed. I've since moved on to using actual frames from the videos with text overlays. Lesson learned. Planning and brainstorming. I use AI to bounce ideas off of, to structure my thoughts, to pressure test decisions before I commit. It's like having a conversation with someone who never gets tired of your questions. But the decisions, those are always mine. And here's what I don't use AI for. The art. Every single guardian in Guardian's Quest was designed by a human artist. I described them, she drew them. We went back and forth until they were right. 24 characters, sketches, revisions, final art, front and back views, all human. You saw this process in an earlier video, and if you haven't, the link is in the description. The game design, the decision to make battles automatic instead of manual, that was mine. The decision to give each guardian one signature move instead of 4, mine. The 6 elemental types, the 3 starters, the guild system, all decisions I made based on years of playing games and understanding what I think makes them fun. The narration you're hearing right now, my voice, my words, my stories. AI is a tool in my workflow. It's not the creator, I am. And I think that distinction matters a lot more than most people realize. 3 years ago, I decided to learn programming. I wanted to build games, and I thought the only way to do it was to learn to code from scratch. So I started studying, watching tutorials, writing basic scripts, getting frustrated, starting over. And then something changed. AI tools started emerging that completely redefined what was possible for a single person. And I realized that the months I've spent learning programming fundamentals were suddenly multiplied in value, because now I could combine what I knew with tools that filled in the gaps. Let me tell you what was the truth before that shift. If you wanted to build a mobile game by yourself, you needed to be a programmer, an artist, a sound designer, a UI designer, and a project manager all at once. Or you needed money to hire all those people. If you had a full-time job, a family, a life outside of game development, the math simply didn't work. The learning curve alone would take years, and by the time you'd learned enough to build your vision would have changed or your motivation would have died. I know this because I lived it. I spent years opening game engines, starting projects, hitting walls and shelving them. Not because I didn't have ideas, because the gap between what I could imagine and what I could execute was too wide. AI closed that gap, not by replacing my skills, but by amplifying the ones I had and filling in the ones I didn't. It let me focus on what I'm actually good at: creative direction, game design, strategy, understanding what makes a game worth playing, and it handled the parts where I was slow or stuck or just needed a starting point. Guardian's Quest exists because of that shift, not because AI made the game, but because AI made it possible for me to make the game. And I'm not the only one. There are thousands of people out there right now with incredible ideas who never had the technical skills to bring them to life. AI didn't lower the bar, it opened the door, and the people walking through it aren't lazy or talentless. They're creators who finally have access to tools that match their ambition. Now, I'm not going to pretend that everything about AI is positive. It's not. People are using AI to mass produce low effort content, to flood marketplaces with clones, to steal artists' styles without credit, to cut corners in ways that hurt people who actually put in the work. That's real. real, and I understand why people are angry about it. And here's what I think the conversation goes wrong. Because people blame the tool. They see AI generated art and say AI is the problem. They see AI assisted code and say that's not real development. The tool isn't the problem. It's never been the problem. Every technology that has ever existed has been used for both incredible and terrible things. The printing press spread knowledge and propaganda. The internet connected the world and enabled surveillance. Every tool is neutral until a human picks it up. The question isn't whether AI should exist. It does. The question is what you do with it. Are you using it to skip the work or to do work you couldn't do before? Are you using it to replace people or to become someone who can finally create? I can only speak for myself. I use it to create, and what I'm creating is something I'm proud of. At the end of the day, there's only one thing that matters. Is the game fun? Not what tools I used, not what percentage was written by hand, not whether the thumbnail was AI generated or hand drawn. Is the game fun? Does it respect the player's time? Does it feel like something someone actually cared about making? That's what I'm focused on. And when Guardian's Quest is ready, that's what I want to be judged on. Not the tools, the work. I know this is a topic people feel strongly about, and I'm genuinely interested in hearing where you stand. Do you think AI has a place in indie game development? Where do you draw the line? Drop a comment. I'll be in there reading and responding. If you want to follow the journey and see how Guardian's Quest keeps evolving, subscribe. The Patreon is where supporters get early access to builds and a say in the development. And the Discord is where the community actually lives. This is Unnin Games. Let's build.